Welcome back to Till All Are Done, the show where we're showcasing one toy for every character in the Transformers universe. We've moved on to G1 episode 8 called SOS Dinobots, so we can cover our next 3 characters. But if you want to start from the very beginning and see who we've covered so far, check out the playlist in the description or click the card in the corner. But the best way to stay tuned for new episodes is to subscribe and see which figures I'm going to showcase next. You know, I hate to do this, especially with such a beloved character. This is Grimlock's episode, ladies and gentlemen, one of the most revered Transformers of all time. It should be a celebration of this fan favorite, lovable lug. But let's just get into it and not waste time. Transformers. For this Grimlock episode, I wanted to tap into familiar territory with my favorite iteration of the character, and that's his grand appearance in the Fall of Cybertron game. His moments in this very game are honestly so epic, as fleeting as they might be. I love his design so much. When I started recollecting Transformers again, I started searching for all the merchandise for the Fall and War for Cybertron games, the ones they released in the Generations line anyways. Well, to my complete elation, I found out they did do a Grimlock in toy form. Awesome! I found one new in the box for a good price. Bit of an odd fellow who sold it to me, but it was a good deal. What can I say? Open it up, see what it's all about, transform it of course, and I think this thing is a piece of crap. I will go as far as to say this might be one of the most disappointing Transformers toys I've ever collected. To compound this, I had just come up with the idea for Till All Are Done and decided this was going to be the guy I wanted to showcase. After all, this is my very first touchstone with the character, so I'm sticking with the plan, the original plan. I'm sticking it out. I could have gotten the SS86, or see if we can find a complete G1 or G2 version. There's the Classics one, but nope. Here we go. Generations, Fall of Cybertron, Grimlock. Right off the bat, I think this thing has horrible build quality. Awful. Like everything is hollow on this guy. Like I've never seen it before. The shoulders are hollow, the arms are hollow, the legs are hollow, including the feet. If you pull the T-Rex head out of the chest cavity, it's hollow. What's not hollow on this freaking toy? And to make matters so much worse, the plastic quality is atrocious, and out of the package it felt kind of oily. Like I touched the toy and my hands were shiny. Yuck. Maybe that's an exaggeration, or maybe it's my mind just breaking down at the thought that I actually paid money for this. Yeah, it's got this cheap look to the plastic that's absolutely off-putting. Like if I put this robot beside the Super Dino King toy I found at the corner store, you'll see similar qualities of plastic here. This toy is just too light, and I'm just completely shocked at how a Transformers toy this scale could feel this shoddily made. I joke about Super Dino King from the corner store, but I mean, fuck. Yes, I hear you barking, big dog. I know what you're gonna say. We talked about the great plastic crisis of 2012 in both our Thundercracker and Soundwave episodes of Till All Are Done. Hasbro was going through some rough waters while trying to make these toys, I know. Thundercracker is definitely compromised and hollow in spots, but he's also a deluxe-sized toy. There's always compromises for the smaller scale, and as a counterpoint, that mold ended up being pretty okay. Watch the episode. Soundwave, however, is the exact same size class as Grimlock, sold for the same price, and feels so much higher quality than Grimlock. It's almost night and day. Without being a fly on the wall at Hasbro and their manufacturing, I really can't figure out why there is such a big disparity between these two in particular. There's a big gap in quality here, and Soundwave even has a built-in gimmick. Oh wait, that's right. This Grimlock has a gimmick too. I forgot. So the head of the T-Rex is not completely hollow like the rest of this toy ended up being, because they decided to fit in a built-in lighting system gimmick. Great idea and premise, and you know I love my gimmicks. It's just the way it works that is kind of dumb. When you pull on the switch on the back of the T-Rex neck, which is being shoved into the cavity of the body, light will shine from it and filter to the parts of the chest that are transparent plastic. You got some on the stomach, on the chest, and of course the amazing looking Dinobot version of the Autobot symbol. It looks really cool when it's lit up. So then why is this dumb? Well, first off, I can't just press a button and have it on all the time. I guess I'll just have to bust out an elastic band real quick and keep it on. Secondly, the T-Rex head has so much space in the chest cavity, so you can accidentally move the light and it won't shine in it properly. And therefore, my third issue is it certainly doesn't light up as bright as the T-Rex head by itself because of this. What a dumb, awkward way to pull off a light up gimmick. We have had years and years of toys lighting up. So why did we have it this way? I mean, my kids' Fisher-Price stuff lights up brighter than this. It's so dumb. And the light doesn't reach the head either, but at least they thought about this and decided to give the sculpt red light piping. It works pretty good, but if you actually shine it to the light, well, now you got the big ass backpack blocking it. So now you have to get light from the side instead, and not just from directly the back where it's supposed to work that way. Just another stupid design choice to throw on top of the pile. Is there anything about this toy that's not hampered or outright compromised? Well, I guess the sword and shield. I love both of these weapons cast in this cool orange transparent plastic with this matte dark gray plastic part on each. The quality of the weapons are for some reason much higher than the toy itself. Between these and the light up gimmick, is this where the budget ran out? Look at all this nice line work and sculpting in the orange plastic, and then look again at the matte plastic parts. It's actually insane. We don't get weapons like this anymore in modern generation toy lines like Age of the Primes or even Studio Series. With those extra pegs on the sword too, you can also port into the forearm and the shoulder as well. The shield unfortunately can't peg into the hands, but that's fine because I like the look of the shield on the forearm anyways. That's probably where I'm just going to default put it anyways. The other good thing I can muster up for this is that the paint deco is pretty nice. There's a good amount of red and gold to accent the varying colors of gray and black. It's doing that thing where the colors are muted because that's how the in-game Fall of Cybertron color palette is. But there are much more vibrant repaints you can get, like the Takara version of this release and the Platinum edition, which is pretty damn shiny. As well, this toy looks very in-game accurate, although the legs look a bit skinny. But otherwise, they understood the assignment when bringing the look from the screen to the toy. I also appreciate all the cybernetics going through the chest plate and along the neck. It looks really good. It took a long time staring at this thing in seething anger to see there are actually a few good things to point out here. But that's as much praise as I can give it when the other aspects are so compromised, and oh boy, does it get worse from here. I'll be right back. I'm gonna pop an Advil before we get to this next section. Upper half articulation. Bruh. I don't know what they're thinking. I want to skip right to the shoulders and arms because the design they went with for the hinges is so stupid. I don't even know what to classify this as. Double jointed? Triple jointed? Any limb with multiple pin joints should be a good thing, but not here. You start off with this weird and floppy butterfly joint that causes the shoulders to just go. There is nothing worse than loose joints out of the package, but this time it was intentionally designed this way. So you have that joint at the start, and as you move into the shoulder, you have one that lets you rotate the arm 360 degrees. Then the next joint is another butterfly joint, so two joints that are letting you reposition the soldiers laterally. And then you have another joint, this time a ratcheting one, that lets you articulate the arm outwards, and with the ham-fisted design we don't even get 90 degrees out of it. So I guess if you bend all these connected joints together, yeah sure you can find some cool arm poses, but I have to ask, why design it this way? One joint was good enough? Why do we have so many that are just doing something that 1 or 2 joints could do. And as a result, trust me, you can get some real weird ass poses if you start rotating all these joints out of whack. I've also gotten these joints locked up and stuck into the point that I had to bend the plastic in order to get them out of their poses. Guaranteed one day I will snap an arm on this toy. Like, I can't even tell you the full range of these joints, because every time I start messing with it, 180 degrees might actually be 270 degrees, or now he has 2 left hands because the arm wrapped around his back. I don't know what else to say. I want to use my last crumb of sanity to power through the rest of this review. At least the rest of the articulation is somewhat normal. Elbows bend 90 degrees on a ratchet joint, plus you have a 360 degree elbow swivel. Wrists rotate 360 degrees and can articulate downwards due to the transformation. Completely forgot the head. I usually start there, but I had to get that out of my system. It's on a raised ball joint, giving you 360 degrees and some slight nodding and tilting in all directions. No waist rotation, but that's actually not an omen for the lower half. Despite the legs only shooting outwards 45 degrees, which is really annoying, you can make lemonade with the rest of the joints. This is probably the most flexible Grimlock we have ever had, as he can kick above his head forwards and backwards. Forwards and backwards, that's pretty rare. Then you have some interesting articulation for the knees being pinned, ratchets that bend backwards 90 degrees and would bend forward 90 degrees if the shins didn't get in the way. It's thanks to the rest of the leg being on a separate pin joint a little lower than the leg. That same joint can let us straight up disembody the knee in this weird cheating pose that I don't even know what I do with. It's more like, wow, Grimlock, that's a neat trick you got there. He's weird. Then the feet can articulate downward due to the transformation. So I guess you got lots of articulation from this guy, but it all feels so cursed. Like Grimlock made the wrong deal with a nightmare entity, and now he's got monstrous Cthulhu-like powers. It's all over the place and feels like amateurs designed it, which it actually wasn't designed by amateurs. It was designed by actual respected designers that worked on this toy. I know they had external forces working against them with this plastic crisis, but maybe they ripped the bong before they made this too? I don't know, probably the first one makes more sense. The transformation is super simple, assuming you haven't contorted the arms into an absolute mess. From the default position, you have phase 1 where you turn the robot mode arms into the Dinobot's legs, the hands tuck into the palms of the feet, and the shoulders tuck into these conveniently shaped shoulder cavities. Okay, something's normal, that's good. The second phase of the transformation is folding the dino head over the robot head. It rotates out of the hollow chest and goes on with a nice click. Then the third and final phase is turning the legs into the T-Rex tail. A whole big ass tail made of robot legs. The shins shift up and reveal the golden tip of the tail, and they just collapse together, and that's it. Super simple. This is a good desktop transformation candidate, just not for me with this crappy plastic quality. I still keep thinking it's melting all over my hands. What's wrong with my brain? This thing broke me. Alt mode is where I can be a little less spiteful towards it. Build quality is what it is. That's not going to change after you transform it. But for the most part, this Grimlock alt mode is okay. The FOC design plays it really safe, and he looks like G1 Grimlock, or at least some DNA of the original look is here. And translated to the toy, it's cool here. I don't like how massive the tail is, which to be fair is big in the game too, but it's definitely not this chunky looking in the game. I also realized that if they had the same tail as the in-game model, then these legs would be way skinnier than they are right now. It would really look like Grimlock skipped leg day, like big time. So I'm not gonna ride this downside too hard, but it stands out, doesn't articulate, and sometimes it even gets in the way while posing. It's just this big tail that's on this not so big dino. But you have 90-degree knees to help you balance it out, plus the crap build quality in plastic actually keeps this guy pretty light, so this is called making lemonade. You also have ball jointed T-Rex arms that you can articulate pretty well, all things considered, plus you got the toes articulating as well. The legs are supposed to sit inside the cavity cut out perfectly for the hips, but you can go off script and use those strange and ghoulish joints to do whatever you want. Just, I'm not gonna touch them. I don't want to see them. The light up gimmick works way better here and it's much brighter. I'm still cheesed though because the best way to use the gimmick was to light up that damn Dinobot stylized logo on the chest plate. That would have looked so nice if it shone as bright as it does here. But at least it's bright here as a consolation prize. Plus the mouth opens every time you pull the switch and it looks great. Oddly enough, the Autobot logo on his head is the regular one and it also looks nicely lit up in red when you do it. Weapon storage is not ideal, but it works, I guess. You place them on the hips, and while the shield looks fine in that fashion, the sword does look awkward no matter how you peg it in. I personally prefer to store the sword in his mouth, and the clamping jaw keeps it from falling out. Is that a great look or what? If you never considered doing this, you're welcome. Imagine a mechanical dinosaur fighting you with a sword in his mouth. Sick. It's ultimately a cool dino mode, even with everything working against it. I know in my heart that we should have had better. It feels less hollow and shoddy in this mode, but I still can't get over it. We should have had better. My lord, the Advil's running out. I don't take pleasure in bashing this toy with a sledgehammer over and over. I feel like I'm more of the IGN of Transformers reviewers. I've been very favorable, even to toys I'm not all that crazy about. But I had to embrace the hate plague to go back to the way I felt after opening the package for this Grimlock and feeling that wave of disappointment and spite. I have retracts and a few other bad apples in my collection, so this is not the worst Transformer objectively that I own, but it feels like it is. I'm giving this guy a 1.5 out of 5 stars, and I want to give it an even worse score than that. I want to bury this thing in the backyard. But then I would be letting go of all credibility as a fair reviewer in favor of raw emotion. But I will say this, buy any other Grimlock but this one. The only reason I'm keeping this guy is so I have one for the War and Fall for Cybertron shelf. But the moment I get a Gamer Edition version, I will jettison this Grimlock into the sun. Hasbro, Takara, please, I'm begging you. Look, I'll get on my knees. That's no problem here. Hold on. Please, release a version of this toy in the Studio Series line. I'm begging you. I know you're already working on a very, very big Grimlock, but have room in your heart for another one. This one in my hand is bad. We can't have this one be the only representation of this version of Grimlock. Are you gonna ignore a pleading man on his knees? Hasbro, please. Now that I've embarrassed myself thoroughly and begged to a toy corporation, that's what you get sometimes until all are done. Hopefully the next episode has less anger and crying, but we shall see. Another Dinobot next week. Which one is it? Subscribe to see who we cover next. And thanks for spending some time here on the JR Magnus channel. Your precious time, of course. And peace out.